From St. Joseph, Missouri, here is Travis Lee Hartman.
He always gets in late.
Now that is what she said.
That is the good one.
Welcome to the next episode of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We've been at this for 22 weeks now. This is episode 22. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to subscribe below if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. There's even a little thumb up thing too, I think, or a bell. There's all sorts of buttons. Just hit them all. And then on Spotify, please go ahead and follow that content. Subscribe to wherever you find us. We are also on iTunes and iHeartRadio and all the places you get your podcasts. So enjoy Weighing In with Travis Hartman and the Instagram and the Facebook. I don't know how to plug all these socials anymore, Travis.
I mean, where is it that all the kids are hanging out? Like, we're not hip anymore because I don't know where the hangouts are.
Well, after this weekend, it might be Triller, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Could be right.
But with that over there is Travis Hartman. I am Brandon Waters. Thanks for joining us. Weekend Trav. What's going on? Oh.
Weekend Trav is back.
Okay, well, we might have to talk.
Weekend Trav is back.
We might have to talk about that. And some of that's going to be about the first part of this episode when we actually start talking about the big bout that we've all been looking forward to that we actually witnessed last night. So depending on when you're catching this, we're on Sunday the 29th, and yesterday was Saturday the 28th. There was a big event sponsored by Triller and all sorts of other companies. I don't know. It was an interesting event, to say the least.
Too many to name.
Yeah. So, but without further ado, let me go ahead and thank our media partners, and then we'll go ahead and let this train get off tracks. Media partners, thank you so much. TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, and IF Enterprises, thank you so much for your partnership. And Weekend Trav, good to see you.
It's great to see you. Wait.
I feel like I just saw you.
Same deja vu.
Because we just did.
22 weeks of this, and we watched the fight together.
Yeah. And we had a Thanksgiving boxing workout at Price Boxing North.
Right.
So,
guys, we got up at, the workout was at 6:30. We were up at like 5:30. It was a 30-minute drive on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
No days off, Brandon. No days off.
No days off, and I feel like I've seen you more recently than my own spouse.
I mean,
Could
sorry,
be.
Amber, but he likes my face.
Well, anyways.
Okay, sorry.
So yes, we're back with Weekend Trav. There's been some complaint for some weeks now that there hasn't been a Weekend Trav shirt or outfit or attire or whatnot. So let's take a look at this. Go ahead and do your
I dropped the ball. I want to tell all the listeners and our tens of 20s of followers, I dropped the ball, guys. The past couple of weeks, I stopped doing my Weekend Trav new tropical shirt every week. I stopped doing it, but now, Daddy's back.
Oh, I just noticed the Santa hats on the flamingos.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Well, a lot of times you wear this, I just look right through it. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, the audio, we're looking at this tropical shirt. We got the flamingos. Oh, my. So it's funny. It's funny in pre-production. I tell Weekend Trav, don't knock this table too much because it rocks a little bit.
I just put my foot on it.
He just put his foot on it, and now I got to make sure everything's calibrated again. I think we're all good. So, anyways, Weekend Trav is back. Flamingos on the shirt. It's a black shirt. It has the palm fronds, pink flamingos with red Santa hats. I could dig that. I get it.
It's very in the spirit right now.
And he just popped his collar like he's
I
from the north.
almost got a Santa-themed one, but I stayed with the flamingos.
Put your collar back down. You're not some northeast.
Listen,
toolbox.
Everybody keeps telling me that these YouTubers are these big, they use the word douche bags.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to start being more douchey.
Hey.
Maybe we'll get more followers if people start hating me.
Some douchey YouTubers that have 25 million subscribers or followers, they also win boxing matches by KO. And we're going to talk about that. So you know what? Let's go ahead and jump right in.
Let's get it.
Let's jump into the event that was on, it was on pay-per-view, but it was a Triller event, boxing event. You know what I'm talking about. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. That was the main event of the evening. There were 4 bouts on the pay-per-view. We watched them all. We spent some time with some good people, had a good time last evening. And we were analyzing to the best of our ability the matches involved. So I don't know, Weekend Trav, do you want to hit the main event and maybe plop into the co-main event after that?
Yeah, we can backpedal.
Okay.
We'll lead with the main events.
Let's lead with our front foot forward, and let's actually lead forward, but also look backwards. We had a bet going into this fight.
We did, because Weekend Trav B-Money, he likes to predict fights.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty decent at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Roy Jones winning this fight by decision. Everybody thought he was going to get knocked out. I knew that wasn't going to happen for a fact. That wasn't going to happen. Even though Roy does have a susceptible chin, he's only been knocked out early in his career one time, and that was Antonio Tarver. And this exhibition boxing match with Mike Tyson was only scheduled for 8 rounds. And then, by the way, though, when I made that prediction, I'm going to give myself a little leeway. They were 3-minute rounds when I made that prediction. It was 8 3-minute rounds when I made that prediction.
Right.
They moved it back to 8 2-minute rounds,
right,
I think, to favor Tyson. However, if you're watching that fight, it looked like it favored Roy Jones because he got a little tired. But
within a minute.
Yeah, so the official decision ended up being a draw. They called it a draw. It was an 8-round boxing match, exhibition. They called Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. a draw. There were 3 WBC remote scoring judges. They were former greats, women's pioneer to professional boxing, Christy Martin, Chad Dawson, former world champion, and Vinny Pazienza. They all 3 judged the fight.
Who lost to Jones Jr., correct?
Yeah, Vinny Paz. And Christy Martin scored the fight 79-73 for Tyson. Chad Dawson scored it 76-76, which was a draw. And then Vinny Paz scored it 80-76 for Roy Jones, which, if you're doing the math, guys, he scored a couple rounds even. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You got to find a winner and a loser, and he did it twice.
He threw out like 2 or 3 10s. Not only that, but he was giving Jones Jr. the first like 4 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, very, very questionable. And listen, technically, I wasn't wrong because the official decision was a draw. However, I am honorable, and I think that Mike Tyson won that fight. I thought he won it. It could have easily been 6 rounds to 2, or if you're generous, you could have said 5 rounds to Tyson, 3 to Jones. But 6 rounds to Tyson, 2 to Jones, I think is pretty fair. So I do believe that I'm going to concede and say that Brandon won the bet. And the bet was Brandon got to pick a wardrobe that I had to wear live on an episode.
And so in Weekend Trav's concession, I also conceded a bit. So I'm not going to make him do the whole episode. Instead, when we go to break, Weekend Trav will be back with the wardrobe of choice for the remainder of today's episode. Okay? Now, if you watch that fight, I don't see how anyone in their right mind could have voted or could have scored it for Jones Jr. I don't see how anyone could really score it as a draw. Stevie Wonder could have seen that Mike Tyson won that fight. It's interesting. Mike came out, I mean, he looked, for a 54-year-old man, he looked pretty good. And springing a step all 8 rounds. It wasn't like he got tired. We thought, and we both said this, we thought within 4 rounds, that's when Mike's going to gas out. Because, I mean, he's known for that. Roy, on the other hand, was gassed in a minute. And
it did seem like that.
He just looked like he was surviving.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's just talk about the fight itself. Go ahead and kind of give me a breakdown of what you saw throughout the course. I don't need a round by round, but just throughout the course of the fight, your perspective, not viewing it from one corner or the next, but just in general as a spectator. Give me your analysis of what you saw.
Tyson was more aggressive. Tyson, he brought the fight to Jones the entire time. He was coming forward, but he wasn't just coming forward. It was what I would call effective aggression. Some people just are aggressive. It's not effective. Tyson was effective aggression. He was. And Roy was making him miss quite a bit. He did, because that's typical Roy style. Mm-hmm. He caught a lot of the punches. But when you don't do anything back, then you lose that exchange. And Roy wasn't. And honestly, this fight reminded me of Roy towards the last. Roy fought 2 years ago in an actual sanctioned pro fight. And his whole thing is Roy's so fast and he's so good and he's so elusive, but he puts together singles, 1 and 2 punches, and then he's out of there. Is he really, really fast? Yeah, because there's a couple times that he hit Tyson with like a jab and then ducked like 2 punches and was gone. Mm-hmm. It looked phenomenal, but You can't win a fight doing that. And Roy knows that. You can't win a fight doing that. Tyson was landing 4, 5, 6 punches. Roy's landing 1 and leaving. You can't win a fight like that. And that's, if you're a judge, I don't care if you favor a boxer over a puncher, Tyson was more active, threw more punches, landed more punches, and was bringing the fight to Jones.
See if you can pull that text. I sent you that text as a picture earlier today.
Punches landed.
That had the punches landed. So when we're looking at what Tyson was doing, and I talked about this prior to the event in one of our previous episodes, what I thought Tyson was going to do was he's going to be Tyson Bully style, get inside, and I figured he was going to work the body. And that is what we saw.
He did.
He was working the body. I felt bad for Jones Jr.
He landed some good shots.
There were a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
So let's read out those numbers.
So Tyson outlanded Roy Jones 67 punches to 37 over 8 rounds. Also, Tyson landed 57 power punches to Roy's 28. And the difference between power punches, a power punch is everything minus the jab. That's a power punch. So it's a left hook, a right hand, an uppercut. Everything minus the jab is power punch.
I can't even think of 20 power punches from. I mean, maybe the twos that came in, but
they said he landed 28, and I
can't
think
count
he
them.
landed a lot of jabs. But
Yeah.
but maybe a lot of he did throw a lot of check hooks, is what I call it, like the
Sure,
check left
sure.
hook. So maybe that's where it's at. But that's, and those stats also are, these guys are doing it live as well. So they're the margin of error is, probably 4 or 5 inside there somewhere. But for the most part, they're accurate. And we watched it. Jones didn't land a lot of power shots. He just didn't. I remember a couple different times Jones, not even a couple, one time I remember he threw like about a 4 or 5 punch flurry.
That was
and none of them none of them really landed
Yeah.
though. But he threw them and it looked good. If he would have done that the entire fight against Tyson, he would have won.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So it was very nostalgic for a lot of people to watch that fight because both of these guys were easily the best of their era. They really were. So it was very nostalgic. I think that's where some of the judges came in and they were kind of off because maybe they just loved Roy. One maybe loved Tyson, and that threw him off a little bit because they're also fighters. These guys are not real judges.
Yeah.
They're professional boxers. They're former professional boxers that judged it. So it wasn't a real sanctioned bout. It was an exhibition. So you kind of had to know that going in.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what I said too was I was entertained because Tyson brought it. And the cool thing about it, Brandon, is that nobody really wants to talk about is Tyson's had a storied life, okay? He lost 100 pounds getting ready for this fight. So that in itself, the journey, and that's what we all forget. We all forget the journey. Sometimes we look at the end result and we think that that's the prize. It's not. The prize was the journey getting ready for it again. And I know personally as a professional boxer, being out of the game for about a year and some months now, that journey of getting ready again and having that anticipation for a goal that you're working towards, getting back in that groove of being in the limelight again. And I know that Tyson, walking to the arena with the cameras following him, I know that he probably relished that. He missed it. He's 54 years old.
Sure.
He hadn't fought in like 14 years, 15 years. So the journey was the coolest thing. And I know that Tyson, that he enjoyed that more than anything. And just getting there. And the same with Roy. Tyson was 54 years old. Roy Jones is 51.
Yep.
Whoever is watching this, and if they want to dare criticize either one of those guys, I want to ask them, first of all, what have they ever done with their life? Second of all, when you're 54 and 51, if you can still put on a performance like that, even though I thought Tyson won, Roy Jones was still phenomenal.
Yeah.
51-year-old man out there moving around like he was doing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. So, I think overall, that fight, I think it delivered. I think it was fun. I hear all these people talking about fake this, fake that. I don't think it was fake. I don't think Tyson pulled his punches because I think Tyson was swinging for the fences a couple times. And Roy, luckily, literally in the nick of, you can't plan that. Roy literally barely moved out of the way of a couple punches to the head that I was like, oh, and a couple of those body shots. Tyson wasn't pulling punches. Those body shots, they hurt me. So overall, I thought they both went full on. I thought it was overall probably a glorified sparring match with no headgear.
But it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed it. It was nostalgic to see those guys in the ring again.
So you hit a couple of good points with that, 2 keywords that I pulled out from watching it as well. The nostalgia of it and entertained. Check those boxes, right?
Were you not entertained?
So, yeah, exactly. So in us watching the pay-per-view now, Now, yes, we were entertained, and the nostalgia hit for the last fight. We'll talk about the rest of it in a minute. But overall, what else were we wanting to see? Did we want to see Mike Tyson knock Roy Jones Jr.'s head off? Sorry, the apostrophe.
I mean, I think people did want to see Tyson knock him out.
Maybe, I guess, but what I found very interesting is that the whole fight, Mike was very measured. Like, he didn't come out like he wasn't an animal, but he was very measured, methodic. After the fight, his words in the post-fight interview and on stage with Jim Gray, and they both are up there, he was very his transition from where he was to where he's at now.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people talk about it. It was there on display for everybody. Whatever piece that he has inside now, but the way that he's carrying himself in the interview is saying, he basically said, listen, he didn't even say, no, I thought I won that fight. He said,
didn't.
I'm happy with the draw. He's like, I just want to come out and do it again.
What a humble, amazing, and what people didn't talk about enough either, Tyson also said that he's going to donate $1 million to charity as well. $1 million of his purse he's going to donate to charity.
Yeah.
The guy's a phenomenal guy now.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that he really is.
And I listened to some of the comments on the main interview panel afterwards too, and someone asked him about Evander, right? Because that's
They did?
Yeah, that was the
I didn't
question.
see that part.
Because we all kind of thought, okay, is Evander Holyfield going to be involved somehow? Is he going to show up, and that's going to be the next thing? Obviously, that didn't happen. But he was asked about what it would take for that. And he says, my people have talked to his people, and that just doesn't go anywhere, and they just seem to fight about stuff. He's like, me and Evander got to talk. We'll make something happen.
Yeah.
It's good for everybody. And he wants Roy Jones Jr. back on the banner. They're promoting the Legends Only League now, which we talked about weeks ago.
You actually brought that up because I had no idea about that, and you actually touched on that, and I hadn't heard about that. And you brought it to light to the Weighing In with Travis Hartman listeners, and I thought it was positive because I didn't know about it. And now, you're right, they're promoting that league now.
And so that's not just boxing, but other sports it looks like it's going to be. But we talked on the way home about some things they could do there. You mentioned one name, Tarver.
Tarver, yeah.
And we had to look at his age. We couldn't believe how old he was.
He's older than Roy.
He's older than Roy.
I both thought he was younger.
So just things like there's people out there that we think could be involved in this. And Tyson, you could see his business acumen on display. Very humble in his words.
Yep.
Very methodic in his approach, and now in promotion mode, wanting this to be successful going forward. Not just the event from yesterday, but now events going forward. So overall, I thought it was a good bout. It was nostalgic. We were entertained. We both thought Tyson won, even though
I did.
I don't know. If these three were watching it the same way we were and giving a remote score, I have no idea what they were watching. Maybe they were wasted. I don't know. Yeah. Other than, Christy, because she knew what she was doing.
She probably scored it closer to being right than anybody else.
Probably. So that was the main event. I can't believe it's over. We've been talking about, we've been looking, it's been circled on our calendar for so long. And now here we are standing at the end of November looking forward to December, which I think after the break, we still have more stuff to talk about prior to that. Yeah. After the break, we're going to talk about big fight this coming weekend.
Huge. Boxing's delivering.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Errol Spence and Danny Garcia after break, but let's keep going with this event. Because if you follow our content, if you're following us on YouTube, we even put it on the podcast sites as well. Week in Trav had an interview with BJ Flores on Thanksgiving Day, working every day.
Dude.
And BJ, awesome. Kudos, man. You gave us some time on Thanksgiving. We appreciate that. And so we had an interview with BJ Flores, who is the trainer for Jake Paul, who was I guess you can call it co-main event, but we'll just say it was the fight before the main event, right? Yeah. And he was fighting Nate Robinson. And BJ Flores,
former NBA All-Star, dunk contest winner.
Three-time dunk contest winner. Okay, New York Knicks, and I think he played for the Thunder and other. Anyways, so Jake Paul, which he's the YouTube guy, one of the brothers.
There's two of them. Yep.
There's two of them, and I think there's a third one, isn't there?
I don't think there's a third Paul. No.
I don't know. They're all whatever.
It's Jake and Logan.
Anyways, you interviewed BJ Flores this week. He gave us his insight leading up, his fight week, a couple days out, on what he thought was going to happen, which, by God, that's what happened.
Yep.
He called knockout within the first 3 rounds.
Yep.
We saw a knockout second round. And if anything, I think Nate Robinson was saved by the bell on the first round.
Yep.
So walk me through, from all the different angles, Jake Paul, that event.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and have to give massive props and massive shout out to BJ Flores because BJ's a former professional boxer himself. just finished his career a couple of years ago even. I mean, I think he was 34-3 or 34-4 as a pro boxer himself. And cool thing about it is BJ was like, Travis, he's like, I wasn't really looking to be a coach. He's like, it's not something that I really want to do. And when Jake reached out to me, I came in their camp as a sparring partner originally. And he's like, and so Jake Paul was actually trained by Shane Mosley. And Shane Mosley brought in BJ, and they were a sparring partner. And then Shane had to leave for some vacation stuff, and BJ ended up kind of taking over a little bit. And then when Jake won his first pro debut, he's 1-0. He was like, hey, BJ, I want you to train me full time now. So BJ was like, all right, I'll train you. So fast forward to now, and BJ was spot on, and my prediction was the same as him. I said third round knockout. It was a second round knockout, but I told everybody, go, listen, bet the house on it. This fight is going to be a knockout for Jake Paul, because I tell everybody this. I made a post about it on my Facebook page too. I said, listen, it's no disrespect to any other professional sport. It's just not. However, boxing is unlike any other professional sport, because a guy like Nate Robinson, crazy athlete. Mm-hmm. The guy's a phenomenal athlete. There's nothing you can take away from that guy. Nothing. He's a phenomenal athlete. He trained his butt off for 6 to 8 months for this fight, and he still got, he was outclassed. Mm-hmm. He got brutalized. He's getting brutalized on the internet now for getting knocked out, which I don't support that. I hate it, but the internet, this day and age we live in, is crazy. There's so many memes about him now, which I hate it. I really do. I don't like it. They're funny, but at the end of the day, I've been in the ring, and I know that just stepping in that ring takes a lot of courage.
However, there is a funny video clip I saw where it's showing a piece of him like from a dunk contest where he's going up and he throws a dunk down, and as he's coming and landing from the dunk, it slips over to the him falling and hitting on the canvas, and then it shows the judges of the dunk contest then giving all the 9s and 10s.
So
it was good.
But to be fair too, I will say this. It's not just because it was Nate Robinson, he was a basketball player doing boxing. When Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Juan Marquez, the internet, go out there, Google it. You will find a million memes. So it's not like they're just picking on Nate. They're not. It happens to professional boxers, Hall of Famers. Manny Pacquiao is a Hall of Famer. So I don't want to hear people saying that they shouldn't treat Nate this way. One, they shouldn't do that. I agree. But they're doing it all around. They do it to boxers. They give them the grief too. So you step in that ring, you got to know that there's a possibility for that. And that's, I tell everybody, I've told you many times, even though I didn't win all my fights as a pro, I lost a lot of fights as a pro, I am not on one single highlight reel of getting knocked out by anybody, because I've never been knocked unconscious. But in the back of my mind, the internet age was huge when I was fighting, and I was scared to death that I was going to be on a highlight reel knockout, because you know how many times they're going to show that knockout now?
Oh, yeah.
A lot. They're already doing it, and it was a good knockout. And to be fair, they deserve to show it because it was a good knockout for Jake Paul. It was a highlight reel knockout. He face planted. He was out. Okay, the last one, he was out.
Yeah.
So it was a good one. But what I think we should take from this is that, like I brought it back. What I was saying was, professional boxing is different. You can be the greatest athlete you want. You can have the greatest trainers in the world. They are not going to transform you in 6 to 8 months. I'm saying boxing is like a 3 to 5 year deal. If you want to get in there, you need some amateur boxing matches. You need a lot of round sparring. And that's where BJ Flores comes in handy for Jake Paul, because BJ said Jake Paul sparred over 250 rounds in 8 months. You don't see that even in professional boxers. That is amazing. And what he was doing was he was trying to overcompensate for Jake Paul not having an amateur boxing career. So the best thing to do is put him with other pros, put him in live sparring matches where they're going at each other. And you could tell the difference. When you watch that fight, you didn't have to know anything about boxing. Within the first 10 seconds, you could see the difference.
Yeah.
Jake was much more measured. Jake was much more calm, cool, collected, because Nate came out there.
Nate was scrap. He just went
to scrap. He came out like a scrap. It was a scrap. Nate even switched from left-handed to right-handed because he's that good of an athlete.
Yeah.
But he couldn't fight either way.
He just had no form.
He had amazing training, but again, boxing is different. And I know now that I hope that Nate goes back and says, you know what, I think he already had respect for boxing, but I hope he looks back and he's like, you know what, it's a tough sport, and I'm foolish to believe that I could jump right in and do something. Even though he didn't even fight a real professional boxer, Not taking it away from Jake, but Jake's only had 2 boxing matches, and he's fought both pro debut guys. So neither one of those guys that he's fought and won were professional boxers.
Yeah, but here's what kind of bothers me about that whole discussion about guys only now 2-0, he hasn't fought anybody, whatever else. What do you expect a guy that's 2-0? Who do you expect a guy that's 2-0 to have fought already? We know plenty of local guys who haven't fought anybody. Okay, we know plenty of local guys that don't look good in the ring, and they keep fighting, and they've been fighting for years.
Yep.
The guy, he gets flack because of who he is, because he's the YouTube guy, because he has all these, teeny bopper and all these followers, and they hate, and he kind of comes off a certain way. I get it, but you know what? He's not like hot garbage in the ring. And he's going to get better, and he has the proper training around him now. So I just don't understand the old guard giving the grief to guys like him. Now I understand some of the other ones, like some of the other YouTubers that became boxers. They're not exactly pursuing it. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's pursuing it properly. Yep. He's surrounding himself with proper training. Okay, yeah, he jumped aboard this Triller event. Who in their right mind wouldn't?
Yeah,
who wouldn't do it?
But to be fair, I said it too. Since there weren't live fans there at Staples Center, they needed the online crowd.
Yeah.
And whether you want to believe it or not, Mike Tyson would have sold, he would have, but they needed a guy like Jake Paul who brought that online presence.
He has 25. So
just YouTube followers. He's got 20 million YouTube followers.
So I mentioned,
not to mention Insta, Twitter, Triller.
So I mentioned Mike Tyson and the actual interview panel, which it was kind of weird the way they did the interviews afterwards. Someone asked him about Jake, and at first he didn't even remember the guy's name. He's like, but then my kid told me he wanted to fight this Jake Paul guy, and I didn't even know who he was. He's like, I guess he has like 1 million followers, 2 million followers, and then one of the interviewers is like, it's like 25 million, and Tyson looked at him like, what? He's like surprised, so no. It was the old guard doesn't like it because it breaks the mold.
Yep, it's different. It's new.
It's different. And does any sport want a bunch of people to jump into the sport with that kind of following and background? Probably not. But how many guys are out there and gals are out there like that? There aren't a lot that are going to jump into the sport of boxing, okay?
No. And they can actually pull that off. There's not.
So should Jake Paul go in at 2-0? Should he go fight somebody that's like 11-0?
No.
No.
And that's what people don't understand. And people want to conveniently forget that guys like Julio Cesar Chavez, he was like 50-0. Look at his record, and you can back this up. Look at his record. He fought a couple dudes with less than 10 fights when he was 50-0. I think he fought a guy that was 0-10. 0-10. You know what? I'm going to make sure I'm going to look it up and just tell you for sure. But I'm telling you, I know it is, but I'll give you the exact number. So Chavez Jr., not Chavez, Daddy Chavez fought a guy that was like a cab driver at 50-0. You didn't hear the uproar that they're giving this guy. So I'm not going to punish Jake Paul for being popular. Okay, this kid is popular. However he did it.
Fine.
It was a grind, a different kind of grind than we're used to, but that's where we're at now. We're in a different age, man. We're in an age where the lives revolve around online presence. Whether you're a politician, whether you're anything, your online presence matters, and he figured out how to get a massive following. Don't punish him.
And that's what I don't get is it's not like someone's like teeing him up for a title fight.
No, they're not.
Give me
they're
a
not
break. Yeah, but this is the way that they're complaining.
Yeah.
There's plenty of local guys that are 8-0, 9-0, whatever else, and they're going to keep having to grind till they could break out and finally be on something that has a national TV audience. They would love to do it that way, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that everybody's taking this the wrong way. I think that professional boxers out there that are talented, that are like 5, 6, 7-0, learn how to self-promote yourself. And I think you can take a little bit from Jake Paul, but also know that Floyd Mayweather, that's why Floyd Mayweather didn't get to where he was at because he was only talented. Okay, because I'll give you an example. Floyd was like 20-0, and he was with Top Rank, which is Bob Arum.
Mm-hmm.
And Floyd was by far the most gifted guy out there. But he wasn't making the most money. He was not even coming close to making the most money. Bob Arum was like, this guy's not going to be a pay-per-view star. He's never going to make money. And you know what Floyd did? He took it to heart. And you know what Floyd did? He went out. He figured out a way to make people come see him fight. Whether it was good or bad, he self-promoted himself to where he's at now. So I think Jake Paul if you guys want to really break it down, he's not doing anything different than a lot of other guys did to get to where they're at. He's doing it in a little bit of a different way early on. He only got this opportunity because he had 20 million followers, which is true. But because he brought a guy like BJ Flores on his training camp, BJ is measuring this out. BJ knows he's not giving the guy unrealistic expectations. He even said, he says, we're not training him to be a world champion. We're not even talking about that. He's fighting, he's performing, and he's crafting what he's doing. Yeah. He's learning how to box. We're putting him in with hardcore training sessions, and we're just going to go from there. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I literally, right now, as a longtime boxer myself, since I was 6 years old, I see nothing, at this point, I see nothing wrong with Jake Paul being 2-0 and fighting the guy he's fighting. Now, anybody that knows anything about boxing, if Jake Paul gets to like 10-0 and is still fighting pro debuters, there's a problem.
Of course.
There's a problem, and I will openly come out and criticize it. I don't think it's going to get there because I genuinely believe if Jake Paul gets to 10-0, he's going to be pretty good, and I think they'll put him up with somebody. I think he might even fight somebody a little tougher than that before 10-0, to be fair. Right now, he's not just calling out regular dudes. He called out Conor McGregor. He called out Conor. That was on his number one list. He's like, I'll fight Conor. And honestly, he's bigger than Conor, but be a good fight. I would watch it. He's a lot bigger than Conor, though, so he has size over Conor, but Conor's phenomenal talent. But that's not a terrible fight.
I expect probably the next fight or two, it's going to be something like that, where it's his brother.
He's going to fight a celebrity or
something like that, and fine. And then everyone's going to complain and be like, oh, he's not fighting anybody. And eventually he's going to fight somebody that has a very similar record, maybe a 3-0, 4-0, if he gets to that point. And so what?
He honestly, and what people are not realizing is, if he could easily pick right now a professional boxer, a current professional boxer that's had 2, 3, 4 fights, that he would dismantle too.
Exactly.
But they're just choosing to capitalize on his popularity, and they brought in an NBA star, so they brought in his fans. Yeah. They're making very, very intelligent business moves.
Yeah.
Eventually, he will. And what people don't understand is he's not bad. I could probably name off about 20 fighters from where I'm from in the Midwest, Missouri, that Jake Paul would annihilate. Mm-hmm. And they're actual boxers that have been boxing. They even had a couple amateur fights and the pro fights. He would annihilate them. So I do not see anything at this point with Jake Paul being 2-0. I see nothing wrong with how they're doing it right now.
No. And so you could tell, so to the actual fight, any sort of analytical work on the fight, when I was watching, you could tell, I thought Jake would come out a little more aggressive. He came out a little more tentative because we didn't know this prior, and I'm surprised maybe BJ didn't say that on purpose in the interview. Jake had broke his nose like a week or so prior, and so he hadn't been able to spar in several days anyways. And on top of that, you could tell he was kind of protecting his nose a little bit. Mm-hmm. But with Nate Robinson flapping his arms all over the place, it was just a matter of time till he was going to catch him solid.
But to be fair, that didn't matter because
Nate was hugging a lot.
What I mean by the broken nose, when he said he broke his nose leading up to like 4 or 5 days out, doesn't matter. You don't spar 7 to 10 days away. Yeah. So it wouldn't have mattered. That's the thing. Jake, when he said that, I was just like, okay, it doesn't. The only thing that mattered was the night of the fight for sure. Hopefully you can breathe right and all that stuff. But what didn't really matter was you're not sparring the week of your boxing match. Not pros, you're not. So it didn't take away any of his training, in my opinion, the sparring, because you're not. And BJ's a smart guy.
But I feel like he was protecting it a little bit more.
Oh no, he probably for sure, because it was broke. So 100% yes. But he didn't miss out on training because of it.
So here's what I didn't like about the fight, is that other than the knockout, the fight was boring as hell. It was Nate jumping in wildly.
Not boring, but it was not skilled.
No, it was. Take the knockout out. There was a lot of hugging.
But I mean, you could say that about a lot of fights, even like big time fights like Triple G. I've seen him in some fights where like this fight was boring, but then he ended it with a phenomenal knockout. I'm like, that was a great fight.
But that's my point, is that if it wasn't for the knockout,
if that fight would have went the distance like that, it would have sucked.
It would have been a 1-2 hug.
You're right.
That's all it was until the knockout. Thank goodness for the knockout.
I'm looking up Chavez right now is what I'm doing.
Okay. So, I mean, that was the fight. We were, once again, entertained, okay? And then the 2 undercard fights that they showed, they weren't bad. They were reasonable fights. We've seen plenty of bad boxing fights.
I mean, actually, Badu Jack.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He fought a 13-1 or a 13-0 guy.
And that dude was
a good fight.
He ate a lot of shots.
It was a good fight. Badu Jack is a former world champion.
Yep.
It was a good fight.
Yep.
Like, that was an actual legit professional boxing match. That was a real sanctioned professional boxing match, and it showed.
Yeah.
And then the fight right before that was actually a really good fight, too.
Sure, yeah.
2 good professional boxers. So, overall, I don't see how anybody. It was $50. Shoot, most pay-per-views are a little more than that even. Like usually they're $70 or $80. So overall, guys, for me, $50 for that card.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So
I was entertained.
Yeah. So when you look at
take away all the rap music and all that
I
stuff.
was about to get to that. So when you look at the actual athletic contests that we saw, I was satisfied.
Yep.
Now when you go in between all the stuff, holy moly. I get it. You want to bring. There's a certain level, like certain kinds of fans, like you want to draw a certain audience, and that's cool. But there was a lot of musical performances that probably went way too long.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 4 fights on the pay-per-view that started at 9 o'clock. We didn't leave where we were at till like almost 1.
Yeah. It was that was a good thing though, is that if you watch that with good company, the fights weren't that bad because it was the in-between the fights that sucked. Because we were with good company, literally, I don't remember paying attention to the rappers because we were just like, we're just talking, conversing, having some fun. Because if I was sitting there with some people and that's all we were doing, it was a boring crowd that I was with, and I'm just watching that, I would have been like, I'm turning it off. Like, this is stupid. I'm going to turn the channel until it's back to the fights.
It's one of those where you're like having if it was a non-boxing fan watching and you're with them, you're having to justify everything else going on between the fights. Like, the announcer panel was awful, in my opinion.
Some people, I heard a lot of people that were like, "Can we have Snoop Dogg back for more?"
Well, he was just funny. He's funny, and you know what? I like his performance, but he's Snoop Dogg, and we grew up with that. But
it was nostalgic for sure.
There was a lot of nostalgia involved. The event overall, it was a good event. Okay,
it was a good event. It was worth $50.
I didn't have to listen to Max Kellerman. I didn't have to listen to some of these other guys talk all the time. It was good. We left there, other than the main event and the decision, we left there entertained and happy with how it worked out.
All right. I found this number, and this is a crazy stat. So I want people to know this. This was in 1989, okay? Julio Cesar Chavez was 65-0. He fought a guy that was 0-1, okay? Don't give me crap and tell me that Jake Paul... He's 2-0 and fought a pro debut. Don't come at me unless you got some information, because I'm looking at it right now. He fought. Chavez was 65-0. He fought a 0-1 guy. Done. Game over. He's a Hall of Famer though. Chavez is a Hall of Famer. But you're going to give Jake Paul crap? Don't give Jake Paul crap because he's popular. He earned that right to be popular, whether you like it or not. You don't just like wake up one day and be like, oh, boom, I got 20 million followers. He grinded his way, whether it was stupid, whatever. I don't even know how he got popular, to be honest, because I never followed him before now. But don't give him crap. He's 2-0. They're taking him how they should.
I know. Listen, it's not an overnight thing getting that many followers.
Can you believe that?
It's taken us 22 episodes to get that many.
This is true. 22 weeks and we're grinding.
Yeah, which reminds me, if you're not following us or subscribing, please do. I like our YouTube channel. Is really cool because you can see us. You can see Weekend Trav's outfit. You can see how he never shaved for Movember. You can see how my beard is basically coming back in. Yeah, you're getting all the good stuff here. Anyways, or on Spotify, everything. You should
get the audio everywhere, but this is the video. You better subscribe to our YouTube channel because we post more than just our episodes. We got some cool stuff coming up.
We do. So, final wrap up on the actual event, the Triller event from yesterday.
The co-main event, Jake Paul. I wouldn't say he impressed me, but speaking with BJ and knowing BJ for a long time, I've known BJ since the amateurs, and I grew up with BJ boxing. I was on the same National Golden Gloves team as him in 2000. I wouldn't say I was impressed, but Jake Paul can beat a lot of pros out there that are that early in their career. He could. Yeah. And he's just picking him right now. And I was happy with the decision. A lot of people were talking about also the behind the head shot. And I was just like, it was behind the ear a little bit, it was, but Nate Ravis was leaning forward a little bit. So what they would have called, and this is for all the people that want to know the official rules, what they would have called that was an unintentional foul. Okay? What that would have meant was If Nate Robinson wouldn't have got up, he would have still lost because it was unintentional. Meaning that Jake, and he did it. You see him, they both coming in, Jake Paul was kind of going like that. It wasn't like he twisted him around and drilled him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
When he started that punch, it was his face was like that. All of a sudden, it turned a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was illegal. It was all by the rules because if it was an unintentional foul, I've lost before because of an unintentional foul. So an unintentional foul, Nate Robinson would have had time to recover, which he did. Got up. The referee gave him too much time. If you watch that fight, the referee counted. He got up, and Nate was like walking around, like, oh my gosh. Normally, you look at him, you go, can you fight? Can you carry on? And if he doesn't answer, they call it off. They didn't. Yeah. He got a good 5 to 10 more seconds and then fought. So, with that being said, Jake Paul did what he had to do. Had a highlight reel knockout. Yeah. BJ told me his power was unreal, and it's pretty good. Yeah. He should be however, he should be knocking these guys out, and he is. Good for him. The Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. fight, in my opinion, it delivered. I thought Roy could have done more, but these 51 and Mike Tyson's 54, lost 100 pounds to get to where he was at. We should be paying attention to that journey and knowing that, what would you do at 54? I pray to God that I can look and fight like that when I'm 54 years old. Genuinely, like I don't care what anybody says. 54 and 51, we all could hope that we do that. Because most of the people criticizing those guys, they're sitting on their couch eating some Cheetos.
Of course.
And they're probably 50 pounds overweight themselves, and they're just jealous that those guys are doing it.
Yeah.
So overall, $50, I would 100% watch again. I would pay that again to watch a similar type of fight. Minus, let's get the rap and the entertainment, and not just the rap, just the entertainment value. I didn't like all the other fluffy stuff. Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
More of that boxing. They could have put in a couple more boxing matches to fill that time.
Yep.
I'd have been happy.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it. B Money, what about you?
I think so too. This is the echo chamber part. I think I agree with most of your sentiment there. My one takeaway from the last two fights was that both winners, because I'm going to assume Mike Tyson was the winner, both winners were very humble in victory.
Yeah, even Jake was.
Even Jake, which I think that threw some people off. I was entertained. Listen, I was entertained. That's what you want on a Saturday night, right? What exactly are we looking for? You know how many UFC and boxing cards that I've seen that have not been entertaining, and I regret actually wasting my time and effort?
Legit professional boxers.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there.
And I hate even saying that because guess what? Other than the exhibition main event, everyone else on that card, it was a legit professional fight.
Yep.
These were professional fights. Now the ring was a little smaller. It was interesting. It was
talk about that.
The
that
logistics
ring was small.
The logistists were interesting. We thought that was going to be an advantage to Mike Tyson.
I think it probably was though.
But I think it might also help Roy a little bit. He didn't have to run around so much. And in between rounds, he can get to his corner quicker. It was so funny. Every round, and you were like, the people we were with, once the bell went off, you were talking with them, but I would watch. Roy was like immediate to the stool. Mike Tyson was just standing there waiting for his.
Yeah, because they took a little bit of time.
And he didn't even look tired the whole time. He didn't look tired. That was the thing. He was, I am impressed. He was in great shape and measured. And like I said, spring in a step, he was doing his whole thing through 8 rounds. Now, there are 2-minute rounds, I get that, but he's 54 and Roy is 51. Okay? So overall, I was happy. I was looking forward to the event. I'm happy with it. The 2 main winners at the end, very humble in the victory, which was nice to see too. And I'm looking forward to the next thing that the Legends League, whatever they put together.
I think Triller is onto something, and I hope that Triller keeps doing good and keeps promoting boxing in a positive manner.
And if you're on Triller, find us Wayne and TH. It's been a little while since we've been on there, but we have an account. We're everywhere.
We need to post more.
I guess we should post everywhere. So anyways, we're going to take a break here shortly, but what we want to do, there's a couple businesses that we wanted to highlight. Just to add full transparency, we're receiving no kickbacks. We don't get any sort of compensation or anything like that. We just want to help out and at least give some shout outs to people that are involved in our world. So Weekend Trav, what do you got for us?
I'm right now, we're in a tough time. 2020 has been really tough on small businesses. And I think the number is, you might correct me on this, but I want to say that there's somewhere around 100,000 small businesses that have went under because of this whole pandemic. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but I heard a number float around like that. And right now, guys, we're on the holiday season. Definitely shop local, shop American. Try as best as you can to order from American businesses and small businesses. If you absolutely can, like, do your best. So what I want to do is I just want to highlight some small businesses that are from the small. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the Midwest. So I got a couple Midwest businesses that I wanted to give a shout out for. And again, they're not sponsoring our show. They're not doing it. We're just doing it because you should do things like this. We're all together in this. Yeah. In the United States, we're all together. Whether we are Democrat or Republican, we're together in this.
We're just a couple high-quality guys looking to help and give a helping hand out.
So the business is called Shack's House Designs in Elwood, Kansas. It's a boutique that offers custom apparel. They have homemade and all-natural bath and body products. They have something for everyone. So Shack's House Designs in Elwood, Kansas. Give them a shout out, guys. If you like that type of stuff, go check it out. And then the other business is Heather Scott. She is a Mary Kay independent consultant. So look her up. Heather is like the normal Heather. You can spell it. Scott, S-C-O-T-T. Heather Scott, Mary Kay. If you need some makeup, whatever it is, give them a shout out, guys. It can't hurt. I mean, if you're wearing makeup and you normally order it from online or something like that, go with her. Check it out. Help these people out. These are small businesses.
If you need a way to get in contact with either of these businesses, just reach out to us. We'll get you hooked up. The first one, did anyone have a website or anything like that?
The Mary Kay one does. It is, I think you just go to marykay.com and then, it's marykay.com and then independent beauty consultant is Heather Scott.
Okay.
And I think you can just go right there.
And
so
then,
that's
the
other one didn't have one.
And it was Shack's what?
And the other one was Shack's, let me make sure, Shack's House Designs in Elwood, Kansas.
Okay. And once again, what do they do?
And it's a boutique that offers custom apparel.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know what? Maybe that's something we can order something from them. Because custom apparel, I do custom apparel all the time. TH Boxing, all of my stuff. I do embroidered logos. All of my stuff is embroidered.
Might be time for some weighing in with Travis Hartman.
There we go.
Logoed merchandise.
So Shack's House Designs, we might be contacting you.
Okay, so if you need some help with contacting either of those businesses, let us know. If you are a small business owner and want just some, you ain't paying us. You're not giving us anything. We're just trying to do what's right.
100%.
Travis is a small business owner. I'm a small business owner as well. We just want to help out. So if you want to be highlighted somehow, or if you want us to give a shout out, just reach out to us and we'll do it. Thanks to our media partners right now as well: TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, IF Enterprises. Appreciate you so much. We're going to take our break now. We've run in the first half of the segment's run pretty long. We're going to talk Errol Spence, Danny Garcia on the other side of this thing. And we're looking forward to that fight. That's this weekend on Fox pay-per-view. So if you haven't, whatever you're doing this weekend, cancel plans. December 5th.
Seriously.
We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. We'll be back in just a couple moments. Stay tuned. Weekend Trav, you have to understand how happy I am. I mean, I get it. It was a draw, but we both agreed that Mike Tyson overwhelmingly won that fight.
You're lucky that I have integrity.
If you're watching on the video, this is where I'm going to flip over to what Weekend Trav looks like from my angle to now. Weekend Trav, show off. Show off what you look like. Look at that. You look good in the green and gold. We got Green Bay Packers gloves. Nope, we got Green Bay Packers hat. We got Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers jersey. Hey, give me one of these. Give me the title belt. Give me the title belt.
Discount double check.
Yep, discount double check. That looks good. So,
I wouldn't say it looks
I
good.
love making the bets with you.
Because you know I'll honor them.
Well, yeah, you did honor it because
honest to a fault.
Anyways, so we are back from our break. If you, for those that are listening on audio on the Spotify, iHeartRadio, things like that, iTunes, you're missing out. You got to go
gloves,
to YouTube.
Really, the gloves though? The gloves?
You got to go to YouTube and see this. It's a good look. We'll take photos after the show. Anyways, we're back. We're going to talk about the whiskey we're drinking. We've drank a lot of different bourbons. Usually it's a bourbon. Today's just a pure whiskey. Not pure, I should say. This is the Jameson Caskmates series. So it's not normal Jameson. This is Jameson Caskmates series. We're doing the Stout edition, okay? So really what it is that they finish their whiskey in different craft beer barrels, and in this case it's a stout that they finished it in. So a bit different of a taste. To me, it's a bit smoother than you would find in a traditional Jameson, obviously, because you get that stout note at the end of it. But I want to defer over here to the biggest Green Bay Packer fan I've seen today. Weekend Trav, what do you think here on the I know you're sad. Stop it. Oh, come on.
My dad's going to be so disappointed
I
in me.
can't wait. I can't wait for Terry. I can't wait. Can't wait. Let's talk about this. I'm surprised you're not drinking more of it, to be honest with you right now.
I'm going to have about 4 more glasses probably now.
Yeah.
It is, it's pretty smooth actually. There wasn't a big bite to it.
No.
Most of the whiskeys and the bourbons that we've drank, I usually have to wait for the ice to melt quite a bit, and then it kind of smooths it out. This one, I don't feel like I'd had to wait too much, even though when the ice melted, it did smooth it out even more. But it's pretty solid. There's not a bite to it. It's fairly smooth, I thought. It's another one of those that I'm just like, it's not on the bad version, not even close. It's about even road for me, and the price point was pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
So for the price,
it's
really
honestly
good,
inexpensive. I mean, I think I picked it up for $25.
That's super inexpensive.
Now, see,
worth it.
I was recommended this from a friend of mine. His name is Brian Buffalo, and he and his wife own and operate the Nature's Table around town.
Oh, nice.
So, once again, the small business shout out. Maybe he'll see this clip or not, I don't know. But he's the one that recommended this, and I had some with him the other day, and it's very good. That's why I got it today for us. Once it's kind of highlighting what you said, very smooth on the finish. I actually prefer it probably without ice. Now that I'm having it with ice and it's melting in a bit, it kind of loses that stout edge to it. Not edge, but the smoothness at the end.
So maybe drink it neat?
Yeah, and that's what I did with him. So, Brian, thank you very much for pointing me in this direction. And if anyone in the Central Florida area is looking for a nice, healthy meal, go to Nature's Table, wherever you find them around town here. So we do the ranking, 1 to 10 boxing gloves. Weekend Trav, what are you giving the Jameson Caskmates Series Stout Edition? What is your ranking?
I'm going to keep it, because of my previous rankings and how it was with other stuff, I'm going to give a 6.7. 6.7. And I did that because I think I did a 6.9 on the previous week. And I didn't think it was as good, but the price point what keeps it up there for me. So 6.7.
Interesting. And I was actually going with a 6.5.
Not bad.
Okay. And so
Again,
that's
we're on point.
Average 6.6 is the 6.6 boxing gloves on this Jameson Caskmates Stout, Caskmates Series Stout Edition. And we will be drinking maybe a good chunk of this for the remainder of the show. But listen, we don't want to waste a lot of time here. We want to jump right in.
Let's do it.
December 5th, a few days away, depending on when you're listening or watching this. Big fight. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia. Let's talk about it.
Huge. And that I say huge as in Y-U-G-E. Huge. Okay. That was kind of douchey, but it's a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive fight because Errol Spence, undefeated, highly regarded guy who is up there in the pound-for-pound talk, but he got in a massive, almost fatal car crash in October of 2019, and now he's back, and he's fighting a guy like Danny Garcia, who is a former world champion, and still can fight. Like Danny Garcia's resume is phenomenal. The guy has fought the top guys, and he's beat some of them, and some of them he's lost to. He's came up just barely short to a couple really good fighters like Keith Thurman, which is a Florida guy. So, I don't even know what to think of this fight. This fight is phenomenal. If you're not watching this fight, you're crazy, because if you were entertained by this Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. card on Saturday, right after Thanksgiving, I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you buy this pay-per-view fight. I genuinely don't. And Errol Spence is a phenomenal talent. Danny Garcia, phenomenal talent. I think Danny Garcia has 2 or 3 losses to his name, and they're get 2 undefeated world champions, because I believe he lost to Keith Thurman, undefeated guy when he lost to him. I believe he lost to Sean Porter, and I forget who the third loss was to, but he's phenomenal talent. It's a great fight because Danny Garcia has power. He usually knocks people out, and he can box. And Errol Spence, same thing. Walks you down, powerful. He's got a chin that's like no other. And these guys are the top welterweights in the world, and they're fighting. And it's Errol Spence's first fight back from literally a debilitating, fatal car crash. If you watch that video, guys, I want to tell you, everybody listening, Google Errol Spence car crash. Watch. There's a video because there happened to be a bar that had a camera that records outside, and it caught footage of his wreck. Mm-hmm. Guys, it was almost tragic, and this could be Errol Spence's one chance. You know, God was looking after him, maybe. Who knows? And maybe he's going to take this second go-around different. But, man, B-Money, I don't know what to think, because when I was talking to BJ about it, BJ was the same thing. BJ was shocked. He was like, I don't know why they picked Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
Maybe they know something that we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that was going to be my question to you is, and we've talked about it a little bit here and there, is this the right opponent for the first fight back after that wreck? I know it was a little over a year ago, but that was
it's his first fight back.
Bad, and he's going against a talent like Garcia.
Yep.
I'm not sure either. That's almost the intrigue. Like that's another reason to tune in on Fox pay-per-view, is because is this going to be the Errol Spence of old? Or is this going to be a tentative Errol Spence? Danny Garcia, they're both on the right track up, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for the fact that it's his first fight back, that's my biggest thing. It's his first fight back. I don't know why they picked him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got so many other fighters you could have picked to kind of wet your feet,
right,
tip your toe back in that elite division, because Danny Garcia is an elite welterweight, period. He's an elite welterweight. You know, there's top 5 welterweights in the world. There's top 10, there's top 15 guys. Danny Garcia is elite, period. So the fact that he chose him, this is in my mind, I think there's 2 reasons. One, they know something we don't know about Danny Garcia. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he is just, this is his last fight and then he's going to retire, and they know that he's checking out. Or, devil's advocate here, guys, maybe Errol Spence is legit still hurt and legit can't fight anymore, and they're cashing out on him. Meaning, that's why they chose a guy like Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia people know, and it's a pay-per-view fight, and Danny Garcia's fought pay-per-view. So I think they had to choose a guy like Danny Garcia for the fans and the audience to bring in the buys, and maybe they're cashing out. I genuinely don't know. I've seen a couple videos of Errol Spence, no sparring videos, but I've seen a couple training videos. He looks okay, but again, once the bright lights come on and you step in that ring with smaller gloves, no headgear, and you're looking across the ring at a guy like Danny Garcia, it's a different story.
Yeah.
You can spar all you want, but it's a different story once that happens, and who knows how he's going to react. That's what's intriguing, and I think that's what's going to be the big sell, is that nobody really knows what Errol Spence we're going to see. I think Errol Spence is the favorite still, because we don't know.
Which is surprising.
But this could be one that Vegas gets wrong, though, too, because we don't know. And even if and that's the funny thing about all this, let's just say that Errol Spence is the Errol Spence that we knew. This is still a great fight. Even if Errol Spence is 100%, this is a great fight. Mm-hmm. This is a competitive fight, no matter what. The fact that we don't know if he's 100% makes it even more intriguing. And I'm watching. It's going to be worth it. I'm going to buy it. It's going to be worth it. We definitely got to watch this one.
Yeah. You make some good points there. The reasons you mentioned about Errol Spence taking this on, not one of the reasons was overconfidence.
Yeah, no, I don't think at all.
So my concern is that they're biting off more than they can chew right out of the gate. And then what direction? So let's devil's advocate here. Let's say it's a loss. One way or another, it's a loss. What trajectory does that send his career on after now? I mean, what are we looking at from Errol Spence?
Well, see, that's a tough one, because for me, it depends on how he looks and how he loses.
Yeah.
If he loses a 12-round decision, we're not going to think too much about it.
Which this won't be the prediction video.
We still have that coming.
People tune into that for you and your prediction video, but I'll give you my prediction.
Give it to me.
I think it is going to be it's going to be a decision loss.
You think Errol's going to lose?
Yeah.
That's bold.
Is it though?
Should this be one where I get my get back?
No.
I get my get back?
I'm not willing to gamble on this one. Not willing to gamble on this one.
Okay. I mean, that's bold though, and it's bold, but maybe it's not.
Is it not?
Because maybe it's because we got to look at it. Literally, watch that video, and then look at the pictures that they posted of Errol Spence in the hospital after that.
But you make some other good points though too. We're not seeing anything out of the camp. Yeah. We're not seeing any, usually by now you're going to see some stuff, some sparring maybe. You're going to see some more active things. You're not seeing any of that. If anything, all you're seeing is Errol Spence, John with, his name just escaped.
Crawford.
Yeah. That's all you're seeing. And I think you're putting the cart before the horse on this. You got to get through Danny Garcia first before you're even starting to tangle with Terrence Crawford, who seems to not even care about you anymore, and he's already looking at Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. I mean, and that's... I don't know, man. This is the one where Weekend Travis, I'm at a little bit of a crossroads in my pick because of those very reasons.
That's why it's interesting, and if anything, out of the intrigue of it is another reason to tune in. It's going to be a great contest. And don't get me wrong. I'm not thinking that some guys is going to go in there and stomp the other guy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a full-on. I mean, how many? It was 12 rounds.
It's a world title fight.
Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting.
I mean, I always toot the horn of boxing, but it deserves it. This year, the last half of this year has been amazing for boxing. We've had great fights. We've had intriguing fights. And honestly, it's not necessarily the two talents of the fight that matter. It's the build-up to it. It's the intrigue. It's the mystery that sells fights. Mm-hmm. This one has every bit of that. We have great talent. We have world champions, former world champions, super talented. We have a car wreck. We have everything that you can think about. We don't know. That's why boxing is amazing, because I always tell everybody, all these predictions don't mean crap at the end of the day, because the fight is not fought on paper. The fight is fought in the ring. And boxing is that one sport. I tell everybody, it's like basketball. You're winning by 30 points in the fourth quarter. You run the clock out. You win. Boxing, you could be winning 11 of the 12 rounds easily. Mm-hmm. You get into that 12th round, and if you fall asleep for a half of a second and the guy catches you and knocks you out, he wins the fight. Yeah. There's no sport that I can think of right now, no non-combat sport that does that. So if you're a boxing fan, that's why you watch it. You watch it for the intrigue. You watch it for you don't know what's going to happen next, because whether I make my predictions, and most of the time I'm right on my predictions, it's a gamble still, because at the end of the day, it takes one punch to change an entire fight. It takes one punch that can change the trajectory of a boxer's career, literally. And it's worth the pay-per-view buy, man. I'm telling everybody, if you want to tune into this fight, I highly recommend do it. What are you doing the Saturday after Thanksgiving? What's going on? Nothing. Tune into this fight. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm almost speechless, because I just want to see it. I'm ready for it to fast forward and get here. I haven't been that curious about a fight in a long time. The word is curious. I'm very curious of this fight, because I don't really know what's going to happen. My prediction is going to be hard. My prediction video, I'm in turmoil over it, because it's going to be tough, and I have a reputation of picking the right fights, so I want to make a really, really educated pick, and I want people to know that I'm doing my homework, but this is a hard one. Yeah, so we don't have a long ways to wait. Obviously, it's coming up in a few days. It's this weekend, December 5th, Fox pay-per-view, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. So check your local listings on how exactly to purchase that, to watch it. It is well worth the money. I mentioned that I think it would be a decision victory for Danny Garcia. I think close, but I think Danny Garcia has it. Travis's prediction video will be coming out later this week, probably on Friday, I would imagine, is when we'll post it. But you have to be following and subscribing to our YouTube channel in order to see it. Guys, we're going to be big time, so you guys better get on board now.
So we already started. So we started our interview segment this past week, obviously with BJ Flores. We mentioned that this earlier in the podcast, and so that's the In This Corner interview series segment that we're going to be taking a part of, whether it's just Weekend Trav, whether it's both of us, whether it's just me. So we're going to be doing that often, and then also starting to pull in a guest. So that's going to be a little bit different, just giving you more of a logistical layout of the podcast. We have the interview segments standalone, but then every once in a while we'll have a guest in here just to shoot the crap with us.
That's almost like a tongue twister. Logistical layout. Ow, now, brown cow. Logistical
I feel like,
layout.
hold on a second. Keep talking. Keep talking. Keep talking. You need a little more here.
Literally, though, logistical layout. That makes like all of my mouth move. Like I would say, ow, now, brown cow. Will Ferrell, ow, now, brown cow.
You know
I should be warmed up by now, though. Ow, now, brown cow.
I think now we're warmed up. We've only been doing this for an hour. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Do you feel kind of this odd today a little bit? Like I don't know. I feel like it's been a while since I've been in my office. Like, because the weekend, like Thanksgiving's on Thursday. I took Friday off. We had the fight yesterday. Today we're doing this.
I haven't worked since Wednesday.
Yeah,
I'm out of a routine.
Yes, that's what it is. I feel out of routine. Now this helps me because this is
creatures of habit.
This is part of our routine is Sundays, unless we do it on Monday. But usually Sundays we're doing this. So I just kind of feel, I don't know, a little off.
But B Money, I think you're B Money, so.
Well, I'm always B Money.
Money.
It's just sometimes there's a bit more B Money than there is right now.
I think there's a little less B Money, by the way. You're still on your diet and your journey.
Well, the
It's
keto.
been pretty positive.
I'm doing the keto. It's been good so far. Yeah. But it's getting there.
What's your update?
Nothing really different. I'm still down 18 and just
18 pounds, folks. 18 pounds. It's the holiday season. Okay, 18 pounds normally, maybe you're like, oh yeah, 18 pounds is pretty solid, but it's 18 pounds over Thanksgiving and holiday season. Phenomenal.
I gave myself Thanksgiving.
As you should, though.
Yeah, and I knew that going in. Like, I was pretty good for many weeks leading up to that. So I said, you know what,
But we worked out Thanksgiving morning, an hour boxing sesh.
I used to buy into that whole concept, like, I just trained hard, so I deserve the meal. That's not really the way the body works.
It doesn't.
But we went over to some of Amber's family's their house and had a big Thanksgiving meal. But still, same thing. My appetite's not quite there, so I didn't have a lot of food. But I was able to try all the like carb-based foods I haven't had in forever, and it was good. But then it's like, next day I'm like, I'm back at it. Like my body just didn't want it anymore.
Which is good. That's why when you dedicate, you're strict on your diet,
but
you literally get into a lifestyle.
But dude, that damn dessert tasted awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm not used to all the sugars and stuff. That was so good.
Your body probably hated you though.
The next day, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't really tell. No, it wasn't that bad actually. I thought it was gonna be worse. I thought it'd be worse, but no, not really.
Maybe it was some good sugars then.
Maybe. But then I broke. Obviously, during the Tyson fight, you watched me. I broke. They had that pizza there. I couldn't help it. I had a slice of pizza.
Yeah. I didn't think anything of it though because it was Weekend Trav.
Weekend Trav doesn't care. Look at him.
Weekend Trav.
You look. This is my favorite Weekend Trav outfit right here.
This is the worst Weekend Trav of all time. If you're watching on Spotify, I'm angry and I'm flailing my arms. This is stupid.
It looks
You're
good.
lucky. I want everybody on Wayne and Travis Hartman to remember that I fulfilled this bet. I would never in a million years get caught wearing a Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers.
What if we went to Lambeau?
Pathetic jersey. I would not. I'd wear a Cowboys jersey to Lambeau.
Really?
No, I wouldn't, but
Oh, okay.
I would not wear a Packers one at all.
Okay.
I'm not that tight because people already get very, very aggressive for their sports teams.
Yeah, they do.
And my biggest fear is, and this is funny though, it's true. One of my biggest fears is going to a football game or a baseball game and getting into it with a fan because one, I look very unassuming. I don't look tough. I'm a skinny white kid.
Yep.
And these people get very aggressive. And if somebody gets aggressive to me, I'm not putting up with it. Like, if I feel like attacked, I'm going to defend myself and I'm going to hurt somebody. And I really am a nice guy. But if I feel attacked, I'm going to defend myself. So my worst fear is I always, if I go to a opposing team's baseball, football, whatever game, I am definitely not going to wear another rival team's jersey because I don't want to incite that. I don't want to draw any more attention to myself because I don't want to punch somebody. And if I punch somebody, I will hurt them with my bare knuckles. I will hurt them, and I don't want to hurt them. So if I go to a Green Bay Packers game, I'm not going to wear a Packers jersey, though, but I'll be neutral. I'll wear a normal
First
outfit.
of all, you're not going to get a lot of hatred going to Lambeau.
If we went to Lambeau, though, and they were playing the Cowboys, that's another story.
That's different.
I might wear a jersey.
There's plenty of, they always have the rival fans there, but it's not like we're throwing cheese at you.
I don't know. You might. If we're beating you.
Well, if you're running out of the gate like I feel threatened, I'm going to start swinging because that's basically what you just said.
No, I said no. I do not. I've never incited or started a fist fight in my life.
Okay.
Never. I've always defended myself though. If somebody swings at me or comes at me aggressively, I'm going to punch.
Listen, yeah, but there are some ladies that go to those Packer games that you're not going to want to throw down with.
I won't hit a lady.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to throw down with them anyways.
They're probably tough.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll walk away from that, or
they live in
I'll
the
run.
frozen tundra and eat cheese and drink beer and eat hot dogs and sausages.
They eat beef jerky. And
you like all those stereotypes?
Gambling.
All the stereotypes I just did?
I know. There's a lot of people that are watching this that are probably from Wisconsin that now are unfollowing us. We can't afford to lose subscribers, Brandon.
That's true.
Take it back.
We can't. We actually need
Take
more.
it back.
I think we're up 10% over this week.
Not bad. I've seen we've got a couple extra subscribers here and there, so that was solid.
Yep. So
we'll take them.
Anyways, so I think you look good today overall. Yeah, wear it backwards. That's fine. That's one of my older hats. Sorry, it's a little faded.
I'm sad.
Anyways, so anything else further on Errol Spence, Danny Garcia before the prediction video at the end of the week?
No, but I want to show everybody that I got Brandon B-Money. We got ourselves new mugs to drink out of. And I don't know if you can read it, but...
They can right here. I'm looking at your camera.
Got you. I don't want to incite anybody or anything, but these are my favorite glasses to drink whiskey and bourbon out of.
We just triggered somebody. I mean, I wouldn't say 0%. I mean, there are certain things that I'm flexible with.
I'm for sure, but you know what? It's just fun.
Well, okay.
I feel like it's fun.
Okay, that is where...
We're just trying to have fun.
It's not me making fun of the women in Green Bay, that probably also watch WNBA basketball. That's not how we lose subscribers.
You just killed it.
Did the WNBA finish a season? Did they actually have a champion?
I don't know.
What?
I mean,
how do you have a champion when you have two teams? How many teams do they have? They have more than two?
Well, you can still have a champion, but you also have a runner-up. So you can always boast it.
So everyone gets a trophy. Everyone gets a trophy. Just like the Triller card, everyone was getting a medal or something. Did you see that? Everyone was getting.
Well, but that's not that abnormal actually, because not everybody got that though.
Everyone, all 4 fights. Well,
no. The winner got it.
No.
Nate got one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I did see that. See, I didn't watch it nothing because I did see that Jake got one. But the WBC does that.
Yeah,
there's a thing.
We're not going to talk about them. We're not going to talk about them.
We're not giving that credit.
But they gave Roy and Mike belts as well.
Yeah, they got a draw.
We're not going to talk about that though.
They gave them green belts. That was it.
Yeah.
But
we're not going to talk about anything else about the belts.
Those two guys, they deserve whatever they get because they've earned a lot.
That's true.
Over the years. So, but
I don't know if it fit around Roy's belly.
I know, dude. You know what's crazy is everybody. I had a guy on my Facebook. Jordan, I'll give you a little credit, but not credit, but I'm going against you. He was like, "Are you kidding me, Travis?" He's like, "This fight's going to be a blowout. Like, Mike Tyson's going to kill him. Mike Tyson's 50 or 60 pounds heavier and bigger." And I go, "You know what?" I go, "Bro," and I broke it down for him because I'm a stat guy. Like, I go, "Bro, first of all, Roy Jones is 5'11", Mike Tyson's 5'10". Second of all, Mike Tyson fought as low as 212 as a heavyweight, right? In his career. Roy Jones fought at heavyweight as well. And I was like, "You're crazy." I go, "There might be a 10-pound difference." And guess what there was? There was a 10-pound. I think Roy weighed 210, and Mike Tyson weighed 220.
Yep.
And Roy's taller. If you look at the face-off, there wasn't a size difference.
No.
Period. And Roy didn't look like crazy out of shape, though.
No.
He didn't look terrible. He's 51, but
you could
he wasn't bigger.
Yeah, but
Mike Tyson. He's a bigger figure in people's mind because he's a global icon.
Yeah, but it's also, I'm sorry, but the physique between the two, and from head to toe, I mean, It was a lot different. Even at the weigh-ins and even during the match, you could see, and Mike's always had the tree trunk legs and whatever else.
Yeah.
But he just, from a physique standpoint, looked a lot better. For 54, dude, 54.
He lost 100 pounds, bro.
54, and that's what he looked like.
That means he was over 300.
And so I saw him at the weigh-in and then at the fight, and after he had rehydrated and stuff, I'm like, that all went to the right spots in his body.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world?
I mean, whatever he's doing, good for him because good for him for getting healthy. And that's why I love boxing,
Biggest
by
thing,
the way.
Not only physically healthy, but mentally healthy. He seems to, obviously in a better mental place, but I think it's like a couple scratches beneath the surface and something else is there too.
It's always there.
It is for almost anybody.
Exactly.
So
it's deep sometimes.
Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, okay? Because we got the, you're going to have the prediction.
Let's put a bow on it.
Put a bow on it.
You usually say put a bow on it.
I usually
I
do.
like it when you say put a bow on it.
Okay. Well,
So
let's put
can
a
you
bow
go back to that?
Let's put a bow on this thing.
Thank you.
I know we're going to have the prediction video later this week for the Errol Spence, Danny Garcia fight.
And we're going to have some.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about that. We're working on the next interview, hopefully for this week. Go for it.
Devin Alexander, former welterweight world champion from my home state, Missouri. He's a St. Louis, Missouri native. Devin Alexander, former world champion. He's making a comeback. He's been signed with Golden Boy. I think he's been with Don King. The dude's legit. He's fought a lot of the top names out there and beaten a lot of the top names out there. But yeah, Devin has agreed to do an interview, and we're gonna have part of it won't be one of our episodes, so that's why I tell everybody, subscribe to our channel, because he's not gonna be a part of our actual episode like today, but it's gonna be an individual video on its own called In This Corner. We're doing a special segment now where we call In This Corner, where me and Brandon are gonna interview fighters, celebrities, it doesn't matter. We're gonna interview a lot of people, because even though this podcast is about boxing, we also weigh in on all topics.
Yeah.
So we're not just gonna have boxers, we're gonna have everybody.
Now, it's been a bit different the past couple months because it's been like boxing heavy because there's been so much going on. So Devin Alexander, we got that hopefully this week. We just got to coordinate schedules. But you guys got to follow and subscribe to the content to see this, okay? Now, we pushed the audio out on BJ Flores last week to Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, everywhere. But the video definitely is key as well. So get on YouTube, follow our stuff, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon if you'd like to get notifications of things. Hit the little, pound it. Pound that thumb up button for the likes.
That's what she said.
Pound it. So we're going to put the bow on it now.
Okay.
Okay.
And you know what? Let me give a real quick shout out though, because
Let's
we
do
do a
it.
Facebook Live right before we do our episodes. Every week we do that, and I always give out some free stuff. So I want to give a shout out to people who won the stuff the previous week, which was Derek Mitchell. He won a T-shirt. Lee Vanderveer. Vandervar. He won a T-shirt. Jeff Page won a keyring boxing glove, and so did Josh Hollier.
Yep.
So those will all be in the mail, and then I did another giveaway for tonight as well, and I will find those winners and we'll mail those out their stuff as well. So guys, tune in. We're giving away some cool stuff. We're giving away free stuff: hats, T-shirts, keychain boxing gloves. Tune in.
And we're just having fun, so just check us
We're giving
out.
shout outs to small businesses. Like we're trying to pull it all in, guys.
Yeah,
we're doing our best with our platform.
We're having a good time over here, and so if I do apologize if I offended any of my Green Bay people, the ladies out there, or any WNBA players or fans. My bad, I guess. If you don't like it, say something in our comments
I
section.
think we need to bring a WNBA player on here, and Brandon gets to interview them.
Fine, I'll do that. We'll play one-on-one too. I'll show them. I'll school them.
Now I really want to see this.
Yeah, but we have to play with a man's ball, not the woman's size ball.
I think they'd probably be okay too with that.
Okay, we'll see. I'm getting myself into something, I think. So that's probably a good time to wrap this up. Final thoughts, Travis. Give me the final thoughts.
I think boxing is in a good place, and I don't think that the YouTube craze going on right now is ruining boxing. I think it's adding to the level and amount of fans that we're bringing on board, and I think that true boxing fans, don't be intimidated by this, guys. Don't discourage this. I think this is a good thing, because there was a guy named Oscar De La Hoya. He ended up being a cash cow pay-per-view sell because he brought in a different demographic of people, which happened to be women. But he brought in a new audience, and that's what grows boxing. And I think the YouTubers, they're bringing in a new audience. Will all of the YouTubers stay boxing fans? No. But a portion of them will, because boxing has been delivering. So let's support it, guys. If you're a true, what I call old head boxing fan, let's support this. Let's ride this wave, because it's not going to be here forever. It won't. Let's ride the wave and keep delivering on the boxing matches. And I support it. I'm going to support it for a while. And when something happens or something comes about that I don't agree with, I'll be honest. I'll keep it straight. But right now, I think Jake Paul, Logan Paul, those guys, KSI even, I don't think they're bad for boxing. I think it's good for boxing. So, ELE, baby. Everybody love everybody.
Exactly. The tide, the boats rise. What is it? The tide rises, all boats, or I can't remember how it goes. Do you know what I'm talking about? No.
But I mean, the tide does rise all boats, because when the tide
That's
rises,
what I was trying to say.
It does, yeah. I've never heard that, but it does make sense.
Yeah. So if that's the case, if there's an influx of different viewership, things like that, it helps everybody. There's more money
It
in
does.
everyone's pockets. There's more shows to see. You get a different experience once you can go out and watch these fights, or maybe at someone's house, maybe at a bar, whatever else. You get a different influx of people. Heck, if you're a single guy, maybe you'll meet one of these weird YouTube chicks and you'll hit it off because they're there to watch one of the Paul brothers.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, guys. So special thanks to our media partners, TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, IF Enterprises. We always appreciate y'all, which is, very important.
Very important.
Very important. And to every small business that we gave a shout out to, guys, please go out, guys and gals, please go out and support these businesses. If you have any questions about them, just reach out to us. We'll respond back and try to connect y'all. But we want to do this.
We're here. We're in this together.
We are here for you. We say that a lot. Travis mentioned it just a couple of seconds ago. ELE, everyone love everyone. We want to support everyone. We're in this global community, right?
We are.
All right, so let's do it all together.
But we're not globalists.
No, not at all. But I think I'm a capitalist on a global scale.
I like it. I support it.
Okay, thank you. I don't know. What's a good way to wrap this thing up?
Put a bow on it, Brandon.
Well, I already put a bow on it twice.
Put another bow on it. Wrap it
Okay.
up. Tie it tight.
Wow. I want this camera angle to take a look. Any of them. Look at this guy again. He looks so good in these colors.
I look so unhappy in these colors.
Well, I'm not.
But at least I got weekend trap shirt.
It's under there
underneath.
somewhere. So anyways, we thank you so much for spending time with us. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please do so. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons, and comment below if you have something that you want us to talk about. We have other videos coming this week as well, interviews as well as fight predictions, and then also on the audio podcast channels. Go to Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I'm trying to keep a straight face and keep running with this thing. Somebody has to keep this show running forward. No, you got to keep it on. We got photos after this. This is we're a media presence. We're a media powerhouse right now.
All right, B-Money.
Anyways, that's it. That there is Travis Hartman.
That there is B-Money.
Thanks for joining us. God bless.